Welcome into Mavericks Today by Chat Sports. I'm Jeffrey Cooperstein. A bunch of news and rumors items to get to here on today's show, so let's jump right into them. I want to focus the majority of today's show on the coaching staff because there could be a bunch of potential shakeups here as far as the Mavericks coaching staff goes, with a bunch of outgoings with the assistants and whatnot, and we could see some potential replacements. So let's take a look at it right now. Alex Jensen has officially left the Mavericks to become the head coach of the University of Utah. That was announced somewhere in the latter portion of the season, so we knew this one was coming. It doesn't come as a surprise. I believe Jensen is an alum of Utah as well, so it's a no-brainer for him to go back there, get some head coaching experience. Now, it is a big loss to the Mavericks, as Jensen was a big part of Jason Kidd's coaching staff, and the Mavericks will certainly have to replace him. They may be also looking to replace Jared Dudley, who is a prime candidate for the Suns' head coaching vacancy. Now, Matt Ishbia, the owner of the Phoenix Suns, said that it's not going to be a particularly fast process when it comes to their coaching vacancy, but Dudley will certainly factor into it. Obviously, a longtime former player of the Phoenix Suns who could come home and try to get that franchise back on track, which has been an absolute shit show over the last couple of years. And then this just came down today. Darrell Armstrong, who got into some legal trouble earlier this season, was officially let go by the Mavericks. So one assistant gone for sure. Another one going to be factoring in to head coaching searches, and one let go by the Mavericks. I didn't even mention Sean Sweeney on this list as well, who will certainly be in the mix for a couple of NBA head coaching vacancies, as he was last season, given his pedigree here in the NBA. So what I'm kind of asking is this a good thing that the Mavericks are losing assistants? And I kind of look at it in a positive way, where if you're not losing assistants, that probably means they're not doing a good enough job. So I do think that this is a positive for the Mavericks going forward, and it means your assistant coaches are doing something right because other people want them. Alex Jensen parlayed his assistant coaching job with the Mavericks into a head coaching job at the high major D1 level with Utah. And it sounds like Jared Dudley and Sean Sweeney, for that matter, are going to be in the mix for multiple NBA head coaching vacancies. So I do think that this is certainly a good thing. Now, the other question that has to be asked is Jason Kidd going to hire the correct replacements in order to have an adequate coaching staff for the Mavericks next season? Number one, I expect Frank Vogel to be promoted to lead assistant. Vogel was a coaching consultant, I believe was his official title, with the Mavericks this season. And given his pedigree, given everything he's accomplished in the NBA, I would be shocked if he wasn't going to be the lead assistant alongside Sean Sweeney if he doesn't leave. If Sweeney leaves, Vogel will be that lead assistant guy. He was obviously the 2020 NBA champion with the Lakers as the head coach, winning that with LeBron James. And, oh yeah, Anthony Davis as well. So I do think that Vogel, who is a very trusted confidant of Jason Kidd, Kidd was also on Vogel's staff as an assistant during that 2020 run with Anthony Davis and the Lakers. So this would just be the natural progression of things, would be Kidd hiring Vogel to be that top assistant. And if the Mavericks have a good season next year, Frank Vogel will get another head coaching job in the NBA. I do think he's worthy of another head coaching job as well. And he's sitting right here in Dallas. He wasn't on the bench for every game this season, but he did do a lot of work with the Mavericks this year. And most of that work was on the defensive end as well, where he kind of came up with the game plans and whatnot. I know in particularly the game in the play-in that the Mavericks won against the Sacramento Kings. Frank Vogel was a big architect of that game plan and devised it and felt very confident in it. And the Mavs went out there and kicked Sacramento's ass. So I think Vogel is going to be the guy that the Mavericks promote to the staff as one of the top assistants, if not the top assistant. So while I do think that's also a good thing, it certainly does put pressure on Jason Kidd. When you have someone with the pedigree of Frank Vogel on your coaching staff who has won an NBA title as a head coach, it does put pressure on Kidd to deliver results basically immediately. Now, Kidd signed an extension last offseason, but we know that doesn't mean very much in today's NBA. And I do think the Mavericks have to have a really, really good season next year in order for Jason Kidd to keep his job. Because if you have Frank Vogel knocking on the door, it's going to be hard to keep him out of not only head coaching vacancies elsewhere, but the Mavs head coaching vacancy if they don't have a good season. If they don't have a good season, I could easily see Patrick Dumont wanting to go in another direction. And that other direction could very well be Frank Vogel. So there is pressure on the Mavericks and on Jason Kidd to deliver next year. I want to hear from you guys, though. Do you think Jason Kidd makes it past next season as head coach of the Mavericks? If you do, type Y for yes. If you don't, type N for no. This will be the pinned comment on today's show. So while you guys are listening to why you should subscribe to the channel, go on down there and get your votes in. Type Y for yes or type N for no. And I did want to bring this to your attention. Last April, we had a record on the channel of 565 new subs. This year with April, it is April 29th. We've got a couple days left. We are at 352. I want to see if we can break this record of 565. You know we cover the Mavs better than anyone on YouTube. The latest news, the latest rumors, we do analysis, we do watch parties. Man, I wish we got to do some playoff watch parties this year. But we'll be back to watch parties for the 25-26 season for sure. So if you want all of that here, the best Mavericks coverage here on YouTube, hit that subscribe button right now. I do want to break down today as well the lottery odds and everything that goes in to the Mavericks with the lottery odds. I believe the NBA lottery is on May 12th, so we are a couple weeks away from knowing exactly where the Dallas Mavericks are going to pick. So let's take a look at all of the things that go in to the lottery odds. First, let's take a look at the top 4 odds and the chances the Mavericks have to get the likes of a Cooper Flagg, of an Ace Bailey, of a Dylan Harper. If the Mavs get the number 1 pick and get to select Cooper Flagg, it's a 1.8% chance. Number 2 is 2% on the dot, 2.2 for 3, 2.5 for 4, for a total of 8.5% chance at a top 4 pick. Now keep this in mind when you see these odds. I know you're thinking they're long as it is, and you would be right. Despite having an 8.5% chance of getting into the top 4, the Mavericks have had a 0% success rate of moving up in the lottery. In the 45-year history of the Dallas Mavericks, they have never moved up in the NBA lottery. They have moved back. They have stayed put. They have never moved up. So don't bank on the Dallas Mavericks moving up in the lottery whatsoever. I just don't see it happening. The odds would tell you that it is not in their favor at all. Don't bank on the Mavericks getting a top 4 pick this season. You know what you can bank on, though? An Anthony Davis jersey. Go get yourself an AD jersey right now at chatsports.com/Davis, courtesy of our friends at Fanatics. Multiple colors. They have the royal blue one. They have the navy. They have the white. They have the city. They have all sizes and colors available over at Fanatics. We also get a part of the proceeds if you use that link, chatsports.com/Davis, to go and get your jersey. So go ahead, check it out right now. That link will be in the comments and the description of today's show. Appreciate Fanatics for sponsoring this episode of Mavericks Today. These are the more likely odds for the Mavericks and where they might sit in the NBA lottery. They currently have the 11th best odds, which is the highest percent chance of the pick they will have at 77.6. So there's a 77.6% chance the Mavericks will have the number 11 pick in the 2025 NBA draft. The second most likely pick is 12th at 13.5. And then it goes all the way down to 0.5% at 13 and like 0.01 at 14. But this is way more likely than them getting a top 4 pick. And look, if you end up picking at 11, you don't move up or down. I do think that there is going to be a good player available that the Mavericks can select and that they can use as an impact player. And they are absolutely going to need an impact player on this team next year, given the injury status of Kyrie Irving, given their lack of flexibility in free agency and on the trade market. They're going to need someone to play right away and to make an impact. And there are a couple of guys who I think can do that. This is the kind of list that I've drawn up. Jeremiah Fears, the guard out of Oklahoma, I really like. Now, he's rising up draft boards and maybe as high as a top 5 pick. So I'm not sure Jeremiah Fears is going to last to win the Mavericks pick. I really like Jace Richardson, the son of NBA legend Jason Richardson out of Michigan State. I think he's a really good combo guard. Could profile as a long-term 6th man in the league. Kasparis Yakijonis, a really good European guard who played at Illinois last season. Igor Demin out of BYU. He's a bigger guard, like a 6'9" point guard kind of guy who has a full passing range and can kind of make all of the passes that an NBA point guard needs to make. And Ben Seraph out of Israel playing over in France this year is another similar to Igor where he can make all of the passes as well. A little bit of a better scorer though. So if the Mavericks do pick at 11, these are the kind of guys that I think they need to be targeting. I do think they need to target a guard just because of the uncertainty surrounding the Kyrie Irving injury, what may or may not happen there. If Kyrie is not back until the All-Star break, they're going to have to fill the void somehow. It can't just be Brandon Williams. So hopefully they can get a guy who has instant impact. And I think that one of those 5 guys on your screen right now, excuse me, are going to be who they end up selecting. Maybe the Mavs trade that pick as well for a veteran point guard. I don't know exactly what they're going to do. That wouldn't shock me whatsoever, as we know Nico Harrison has gone bold before. So anything is on the table there, but if they're going to make the selection at the 11th overall pick, I do believe that it is going to be a guy who is a guard, who may, whether it's a combo guard or a true point guard. I think that is the direction that they are going to go. Let me know down in the comment section, who do you want the Mavericks to draft this year? Is it a guy that I didn't mention? Is it one of the guys like Jace Richardson on the list that you like? Is it my guy Trey Johnson? Shout out Texas, hook 'em horns, baby. Let me know down in the comment section. And please be sure to hit that subscribe button. It's youtube.com/MavsTV. If anything happens, we'll be here. Stay locked in, and we'll see you soon.